All set? Okay, let's start. First of all, thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Cheng Chao. I'm the Energy Corps intern with the Network for Sustainable Tomorrow. For tonight, our team will have Adam, the Director of Clean Energy Program, Eli, our Sustainable Coordinator, Bobby and Aaron are also joining us tonight as Energy Corps interns as well. So we are the NEST. NEST means the Network for Sustainable Tomorrow. We are a nonprofit organization located in Binghamton that works with community partners that generate social, environmental, and economic justice and equity in the greater Binghamton area. As part of our mission, NEST strives to catalyze new initiatives as well as doing outreach and education to support the growth of a stronger and more resilient southern tier. HeatSmart Southern Tier is one of many programs that NEST has to offer. As you can see, we have many different programs, such as Southern Tier Solar Works and Binghamton Community Power. But today, we will be talking about HeatSmart Southern Tier. Here is the overview for our presentation today. First, we will be going over that what is HeatSmart Southern Tier and how it works. Then we will discuss the visualization and heat pumps technology. Next, we will talk about what incentives and financial opportunities are available for technology and how to get started. Last, we will go over some other opportunities to use clean energy and finishing up with Q&A. Feel free to put any questions that come up during the presentation into the chat or unmute during the Q&A. So, what is HeatSmart Southern Tier? This program is one of several states' campaigns to connect the public with local experts in clean energy technologies. NYSERDA is the New York State's Energy Research and Development Authority, and they are supporting communities across the states to implement community-based outreach and education programs for cleaning, heating, and cooling technology. HSST operates in Broome, Tioga, Chenango, and Delaware counties. We work through this program to educate you all on sustainable heating and cooling through workshops, tabling events, and webinars like this. So why we choose HeatSmart Southern Tier? Now in this graphic, we can see the primary source of greenhouse gas emissions in New York State are the heating and the cooling building accounts for 32% of emission. It's our main aim to reduce this proportion by promoting and enabling people to switching off fossil fuels and onto more efficient clean energy technology. Okay, let's talk about what's the benefits of the HeatSmart. Some of the biggest draws to participating in HST program are the individual benefits. Installing the clean energy technology can help to reduce your energy cost while increasing your home comfort and safety. You can also make a positive contribution to your local and global communities by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and increasing awareness about the importance of clean energy. We work with lots of different municipalities in the southern tier to become clean energy communities. This is another program run by NYSERDA that gives award to municipalities that make clean energy and other sustainable improvements. If you make clean energy improvements, like increasing the energy efficiency of your home or installing heat pumps, you earn points for your municipality. These points can turn into financial awards like grants, so you can support other sustainable improvements. So what does HSS cover? This technology will promote mainly deal with weatherization and heat pumps. The goal of weatherization, such as insulations and air sealings, is to protect a home from the outside elements in order to maximize energy efficiency. Heat pumps are technology that provide clean, and efficient energy that you can use for heating and cooling your home. Our program focuses on ground source, air source, and heat pumps water heaters. We will talk about more of those technologies in the next few slides. Here about our honorable partners. Those install partners are also on the call for today. They can join us during the Q&A section. Now, please allow me to introduce Bobby to talk about more about HeatSmart technology.
Thank you, Chang, for the amazing introduction. I will now move on to the technology portion of this webinar. So the first step, if you were to go through our HeatSmart program, is weatherization. The diagram on the right shows common air leaks in a typical home. The red arrows show hot air escaping through the attic, and the blue arrows show cool air getting into the basement. Weatherization is a practice of protecting a building from these air leaks through insulation and sealing. Reducing the air leaving and entering the house also reduces the need to burn fossil fuels or use electricity for temperature control. This optimizes energy efficiency, so it's good to weatherize your home whether you are getting heat pumps or not. If you have concerns about temperature regulation, ventilation, air quality, or are dealing with moisture problems, these are also good reasons to look into weatherizing your home. There are many benefits of weatherization, such as reducing your energy consumption and costs. With a tightly sealed home, there is a lower chance that any heat will leak out of your home and that unwanted cool air will infiltrate your home. Increasing home safety and home comfort. If your home is properly weatherized, it will reduce drafts, improve humidity control, improve indoor air quality, and reduce the risk of ice dams. Overall, weatherization makes your home more comfortable to live in and more energy efficient. Heat pumps are an alternative system for heating and cooling your home. While traditional systems use fossil fuels, heat pumps use electricity and offer a more sustainable way to heat and cool your home. This diagram shows how heat pumps work. There's always heat in the air and the ground, even in the winter. So heat pumps simply move the heat into a space or out of it using a compressor instead of burning fossil fuels to produce heat. So basically, this technology will move heat into your home in the winter and out of your home in the summer using electricity. If you have a refrigerator, you already have this type of technology in your home. There are 3 types of heat pumps that we'll cover tonight: ground source, air source, and water heaters. While ground source heat pumps can heat domestic hot water, air source heat pumps must be paired with a heat pump water heater. Ground source heat pumps are also known as geothermal. About 6 feet below the ground is a very stable temperature. Geothermal systems circulate fluid in pipes below the ground, and this transfers the warm energy from the ground into this fluid. Heat is then concentrated through electricity and compression, and then circulated through your home. During the warmer months, it even works in reverse, transferring the heat in your home back into the ground. As you can see, there are 2 different types of closed-loop ground source heat pumps, horizontal and vertical. To know what type is best for you and your home, it is important to get an energy assessment from an installer. There are many benefits of ground source heat pumps, including the positive effect on the environment, your energy bill, and your home. This system is very efficient in heating and cooling your home. It's long-lasting, and because it can include heating domestic hot water, it can completely eliminate fossil fuels in your home. This means no more expensive oil or gas deliveries in the middle of winter. The other type of heat pumps are air source heat pumps, which work similarly to ground source, but they take heat from the air and pump it into your home. These are typically a ductless system and do not require underground pipes like the ground source heat pump. This allows for easy and quick installation. Air source systems consist of one outdoor unit, which is linked to one or more units inside your home. These units come in various styles, as you can see above, to fit different aesthetics and cost preferences. There are many benefits of air source heat pumps too. Air source heat pumps are also very flexible because you do not have to replace your entire heating system if you don't want to. Allowing for zone control in your home, you can get just 1 or 2 heat pumps and use them for just a couple rooms. This can allow you to have air conditioning without the ductwork, and it also allows for a quick installation. And lastly, these heat pumps are known to be very quiet. The last technology that we will cover tonight are heat pump water heaters. Heat pump water heaters are basically an electric water heater with an air source heat pump on top. They are usually paired with air source heat pumps and use indoor air to heat the domestic water. Many times, they have a backup system to meet high demands. They are very beneficial to install because they are efficient and can also serve as a dehumidifier. I will now pass it off to Erin for the next section of this webinar.
Thanks, Bobby. So of course, this is all great technology, and we would love you to learn more about this by connecting with us. But the big question on everyone's mind is always, how do we pay for this? How do we achieve that efficiency without like breaking the bank? So to start off, most of the programs that we have are based on income. So we want to show you the different brackets that are used to determine which types of rebates and credits you're eligible for. So you'll see on the left here is monthly income, and on the right are different levels for annual income. So low income generally includes any households making less than 80% of the area median income, and moderate income includes any household making between 80 and 150% of the area median income generally. So now let's take a look at the different rebates that you can put towards these improvement projects. So these rebates come from both NYSEG and the federal government through the Inflation Reduction Act. And they can reduce the upfront cost of your project. All of NEST competitively selected partners have the correct qualifications, so we can make sure that your project has everything that it needs to qualify for these different rebates. So to qualify for the New York State federal low-income rebates, your household income would have to be under 80% of the area median income. But if you're over 80%, you can still qualify for moderate income rebates. So there's really a little bit of flexibility there. Next, let's look at the tax credits. So you can get these tax credits after making the improvements on your home. So these are available now, and they're applicable to any money that you owe on your taxes. The Inflation Reduction Act offers a 30% tax credit for each project. That's the United States column. And this means that 30% of the project costs for installation of insulation or an air source heat pump, a ground source heat pump, or heat pump water heater can be reimbursed to you as a tax credit. And then there's also a New York State tax credit for ground source heat pumps. And I would also just note, you can split some of these projects over more than 1 year to maximize the number of credits you can claim. So for example, a weatherization project is capped at $1,200 a year, which you could get for spending $4,000 on installing weatherization updates. So if your project will cost more than that, you could split it up over multiple years to get the maximum credit each year. So there's also different financing options when it comes to these projects. NYSERDA has 2 different types of loan options. One of them is the Smart Energy Loan. One of them is the On-Bill Recovery Loan. They're basically the same. They have the same conditions. The only difference is that the On-Bill Recovery Loan is paid on your utility bill over time. Then there's different financing that you can get through manufacturers like Enerbank. And then you can go the traditional route, which is that last row there. You can go through local banks if they have a better interest rate. And lastly, we want to talk about NYSERDA's Empower program. So that applies to any household with an income below 80% of the state median income. Through Empower, you can receive a no-cost home energy assessment, and that's to identify where energy and thus money is being wasted. If you're above 80% of the area median income, you can still get this assessment, and it's still free. Just the other other parts of the Empower program you wouldn't be eligible for. But if you are below 8% of the area median income, you get energy audit, and efforts that you need to increase energy efficiency, such as installing a heat pump, are identified during the system and can be installed by a contractor participating. So different discounts are available for these programs, and they're also based on your income and your household size. Something important to note is that if you have a natural gas heating system, you are not yet eligible for Empower. It has to do with the difference in cost between the systems, and the different potentials there. But hopefully rolling forward, that will become available to you, and it doesn't affect all the previous financial incentives we talked about. You would still be eligible for those. So we have a whole host of other clean energy opportunities that we want to talk about today. So the first set are some electrical upgrades. So if you are updating your system with a new heating system that is maybe using a different amount of energy at different times, it would really be helpful to upgrade your electrical panel or your electrical wiring or both. So these are different incentives based on income for rebates to take the cost down of the project. And then in that last column, there's a tax credit available as well. There are also some incentives for electric appliances. So we have low and moderate income rebates for heat pump clothes dryers and electric induction stoves. There is also a tax credit for an efficient air conditioner. And so these rebates are also available right now. And then, as much as we would love if the public transportation system was robust enough to support everyone, the reality is that most of us will need a personal vehicle to get to the store or to work. So if you're considering purchasing a new electric vehicle or a used one, there are federal tax credits available to reimburse you those costs. So these have certain criteria to qualify, such as your income and the price of the vehicle, but they can still really help you out if you're purchasing an electric vehicle. There are also credits for on-site solar. So if you're looking to install solar panels on your home, we have federal tax credits. And there's also a program through New York State, another tax credit program called New York Sun, and it offers a tax credit that's equal to the cost of your project based on the number of watts of solar installed. And this is paid directly to the contractor you hire to install your solar panels. So what all of that means is that, for example, if you can get, in upstate New York, you can get 30 cents per watt of solar that you install. So that works out to be a refund of $2,400 for an 8 kilowatt system. So that can really help out depending on how large a solar system you're looking to install on top of your home. And then if you're not able to install solar panels on your home, but you'd still like to participate in a solar project, there is a community solar is a great option for you if you're a renter, if you don't have a home that can support solar panels, or if it's just not in your budget right now. Community solar is a great option. So community solar allows you to subscribe to solar without actually having to install anything. Instead, basically what you're doing is on your NYSEG bill, you're paying NYSEG to support a project of a solar array at another location, off-site. So it's a little different. And then to build on that, what basically how that happens is your NYSEG payment will go to support the solar developer, and in return, your household will qualify for a 20% annual discount on your electric bill if you are under 80%, if you are 80% or under the area median income. So if you fit the low moderate income bracket, joining a community solar project will qualify you for a 20% annual discount on parts of your electric bill. So signing up for this is non-binding. It will just put you in the queue to be part of the project. Right now, we're still working out the details on it, but we will have someone drop the link in the chat to sign up. And you can also read our FAQ page to learn a little bit more. So how do you get started with that whole laundry list of things? So that's where we come in, really, us who work at Nest. We are here to connect you with the installer partners and the people who really know the nitty-gritty about the technology and about the financial incentives. So if you're interested in anything that we've discussed tonight, there's a few general tips. There's a few general steps that we have to get started. So first, you're going to start with a free home energy assessment to test the energy efficiency of your home. That's just to see where you're wasting energy. And then you'll receive a quote from the contractor to say, these are the sorts of improvements that you need to make or that you can make to improve your energy efficiency. And then you would apply for the incentives that are available to you, and you would sign a contract for the systems that you want to install. So before the contract comes into play, there is no commitment. We are just here to help you get connected to these installers. So that's the role that we're playing. So if you already know that you're interested or you're not really sure, but you want to learn more, please consider signing up on our website, and we would be happy to reach out and get you started and help you learn more about all the things we've talked about tonight. And so that concludes our HeatSmart presentation, and we're going to move on to the Q&A section with our Director of Clean Energy Programs, Adam Flint.
So I'm actually going to kick this over to Eli. I'll jump in as needed. I do want to apologize for the technical difficulties. Eli?
Great. Alrighty. So if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and ask away. Or yeah, we'll start with that. Laura?
Hi, Eli.
Hi, Adrian.
Hey, I have a couple questions. So, I'd start with like my home is in a flood zone, so I want to know like a couple of things of like how it would impact like me like that. So, could I have a ground source heat pump when, like, would they put it below my basement or something like that?
Yeah, that is a great question. Adam, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, so this is one of the questions that I would like to be able to refer to one of our installer partners. I would say that there would need to be two things going on here at minimum. Being in a flood zone, have you already moved your existing HVAC system and electrical box and whatnot high enough so that if it were to flood again, that wouldn't happen?
No, but I was going to
Okay.
ask, that was part of where I was going to go next.
Yeah. So the amount of assistance that you would get from these incentives towards that cost is not very big, but it's something that you probably need to do in any case. And the equipment room would need to be above the flood level for the geothermal heat pump. Now, as far as the wells are concerned, I don't actually know the answer to that. I do know that there are many geothermal systems that actually use bodies of water. And my guess is it's probably not a problem, but that's a question that I think we'll pass on to our geothermal contractors and get back to you.
Okay. There's a house next door to me that got elevated, and they have like a new, all those new things, and other homes like in the historic district that have, updated to the new equipment. So I believe I believe it can happen.
They
Uh,
have they had geothermal systems put in though?
Not sure.
Because that's an entirely different matter, because it involves if you let's go back to that slide here for just a minute. Okay, I'm not going to go into slideshow mode, but in order to do a geothermal system, my guess is that unless you have a pretty large property, you'd probably be looking at vertical wells, which is what I have at my house. And that's the part that I'm not entirely clear about in terms of whether you can do it in a flood zone. The other thing is that if you really don't have the space, which is relatively rare, but not always, then you would have to instead go with an air source system. With an air source system, these outdoor units can be mounted higher up, and the indoor units obviously are not going to get compromised, one hopes.
So those outdoor units, they can be put on the roof or like hang off the side of the house?
They can be put on the side of the house, potentially on the roof. I think the roof might be a little bit of a complication if we're not talking about a ducted system. Do you have ducts in your house?
I do.
Like, do you have a furnace currently?
Yeah, I have a high efficiency gas, forced air.
Forced air. So that is, again, beyond my pay grade. That is a case where you'd really want to have an assessment to have somebody take a look at it. So the one thing I can definitely tell you is that the equipment has to be moved up higher. And then the question becomes, where in the house do you have space to do that? So that's a project in and of itself. What we could do, first question though is, do you already have a well-insulated house? Have you taken care of that?
No, it definitely needs more insulation. After the flood, we really ripped out so much, and then didn't put any back in the floors, like in the basement. And
Right.
so just the walls that, we did all the way up for the first floor. So, and it was just like, me doing it. So there are definitely spots where I didn't get in. Like I didn't know the importance of filling in those like really small holes and stuff, I was just doing it.
So I think that your first step would be to actually see if the insulation man could come and do an energy assessment to see what your insulation and air sealing situation is. And then you could get a heat pump assessment, probably from a company that can do both geothermal and air source. So they could look from both perspectives. Obviously, if you could swing it, it would be good to raise your property up, but I'm aware that is not a cheap proposition.
Yeah, I did look into that, and it was sort of priced out as not possible just because of the way my house is half brick and half wood balloon frame.
Oh, okay. So it's not structurally stable enough to be able to lift. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking for these other alternatives. So I saw on the slides that there's the electrical panel. So like if I could raise my panel from the basement up to, up into the first floor or something like that. And that could be used for that, and updating my.
I believe so. That's something we'd also want to verify. So it'd be good, Eli, if we could take some notes here, because there was the question about geothermal in the floodplain. There's the question about using the incentive for the panel, not to get a new panel, but to move the existing panel. And I don't actually know if we can move the existing panel. One question about the existing panel. Do you happen to know how many amps it's rated as? Is it 100 amp or?
If it's whatever's for a normal household.
Okay. Yeah. The only reason I'm asking that is if there's not enough remaining capacity on the panel to be able to install a heat pump, which runs on electricity, it's conceivable that you might need a new panel, but it's also conceivable that you totally wouldn't. So that's the kind of thing that the heat pump assessment person would do, is take a look at your electrical system and see if it's up to snuff to be able to add that. It's the same sort of thing if you were to buy an electric vehicle. They'd need to take a look and see if your panel has enough capacity on it. And that could both be if it's not rated highly enough, but it could also be if it's full, right? Each panel has only so many circuits. And if you have those circuits occupied, then it's full.
So
Any
I
other?
know,
Oh,
I
go ahead.
know when the washer or dryer like starts up, something like I can tell. So I would probably need the whole new update. Like I have enough demand on my system already that I would probably need an update.
Well, that's not something I am willing to guess about from a distance. That's why it's good to be able to get the free assessment, because maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, if you're feeling a drain on like if the lights are flickering or something like that, yeah, maybe that's true. But obviously, I couldn't tell that from here. Anything else?
One of the slides said that the air source heat pumps need to be coupled with something else, right? If you had ground source, it was like independent, but
I know what you're
heater.
referring to. You're referring to hot water heating. So with a ground source system, it is possible to add what's called a desuperheater to get some hot water out of that. With air source, you're not going to be replacing your hot water system, your hot water tank with anything to do with that air source system. There is also the option of getting an air source or heat pump hot water heater. I have one of those, but not everybody can use one of those. It has to be installed in the right sort of equipment room. And to be honest, given that you are going to have to create a whole new equipment room, that's probably not the first thing on the list. But when the installer comes to do an assessment, if you choose to get one, you can ask them about the possibility of getting a heat pump water heater. My guess is you have a gas water heater now.
Yeah, but it's like an on-demand
so
thing.
It's fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is all starting to add up too. So I think one of the things I would do is get the assessments and then think about what you need to do first. So if your current heating system is functioning well and it was recently purchased, then maybe insulation is the first thing you do. If, on the other hand, your heating system is on death's door, that's a whole other matter. But it sounds to me like moving your equipment room is also something that would be a good idea to do. So I would wait and see what the assessments disclose, and we'd be happy to advise you on that. But the installers see all kinds of scenarios all the time, and they can also give you very good advice.
Okay, I do have one last question. So
sure.
I watched this John Oliver, update, and it was on clean energy programs and stuff. And for certain states or certain programs, when people went through it and say they put solar panels on their homes, afterwards their tax assessments went up and it caused a problem. And so with these programs, it's not really something that's seen from the road or anything like that, but would anything I'm doing trigger my tax assessment to go up? And you know,
I think somebody needs to mute. Not unless that was you, Laura. So there's a bit of noise for a minute
No,
there.
that was a new person that just joined.
Okay. Yeah. So the short answer is no. But the longer answer is that when you make improvements on your house that are visible, obviously that could lead the tax assessor to think it's worth more. But with geothermal systems, I am not aware of any sort of increases based on that. Didn't happen to me, but I will double check on that. So Eli, if we can add that to the list. You're asking questions that we don't get every day, which actually is good. These are not frequently asked questions, but they're important questions. And I think obviously the floodplain question is particularly important for places like Owego that are flood prone. Anything further?
I was going to chime in that there's definitely a lot to unpack here. So, you know, when you call to have an assessment done, make sure you remind me, you know, that you were on this webinar so we can go back to all of this later.
I have no idea why that is happening.
Let me kick him out. Yeah, sorry, Mitchell. You're gonna go.
Yeah, that was really odd.
Yeah, but
so I see Mark and Frank and Kurt are on here, as well as Katie. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
No,
Well, maybe you could.
I'm good.
Oh, go ahead, Katie.
Oh, no, I just said that I don't have any questions. I think I maybe have seen this presentation before or something, but no, I know about the heat pumps and all that stuff.
Very good.
I'm curious where to sign up on your website for the free assessment.
So if you go on the website to programs, to the HeatSmart program, under programs, you'll see the sign up form there.
So it's under sign up for HeatSmart here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought of another question. What about commercial buildings? Would we be able to look up heat pumps or options?
Yes. Yeah. So energy efficiency for commercial construction is typically a little different. If you don't have hollow walls, you're not putting insulation in those, but they also can be made more efficient. But as far as heat pumps are concerned, it's really not radically different in any way. So for commercial buildings like the bookstore, for example, you could put in heat pumps. That is a very old building, and it actually might have on the upper story. I've only been there a couple times, but that's something that would be a good idea to talk over as well with Jess in terms of the energy efficiency side of things. And then with heat pumps, it's quite a large structure. And so I think the first thing to get a sense of is how much of it do you want to condition with heat pumps? Do you want to condition all of it or part of it? Yeah, so that's sounding to me like an air source kind of situation. Like if you wanted to put some units in both for heating and for air conditioning in the summer in just a couple of spaces. But that's, again, something where you really need an expert on site to take a look. And if you do want to get assessments on both your home and on your business, fill the form out twice, basically. Pretend you're two people, obviously use your same name and so forth, but it'd be an entirely separate process.
For the commercial, I would recommend just getting a hold of me to get to send my commercial project manager out there to do just basically a whole building estimate. There are no programs right now for assessments to be done on commercial properties. And the only place around that can actually do an assessment on the commercial property, I mean, you're going to get charged a good bit of money for it. So, you know, I would recommend, you know, the gentleman in my office that does the commercial projects for our company, He's been doing construction for, 30 plus years. He has built houses. He deals with commercial all the time. We've done a lot of the installation work for a lot of the revitalization projects going on around Broome County. So I would definitely recommend, just having me send him out there to do an estimate on that to see what it would take to get the building up to par as far as insulation is concerned.
Thanks for that, Jess. Yeah, that's right. The energy assessments for commercial buildings are quite different. I should have remembered that.
Yeah, and the only place that I know of that actually does energy assessments on commercial properties around the area is Tatum Engineering.
Oh, I'm familiar with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they're very good, but it's not free.
So what about like the apartments up in the
If it's a mixed use building, it's considered commercial.
okay.
Yeah, the upper apartments could be audited, but the commercial space at the bottom could not.
Okay. So we could maybe just do one section on the upper floor, and not the business.
Yep. You could do that.
Okay.
Laura, for you, I actually just finished making your contact on HubSpot today, and so if you just want to submit a form for the commercial side of things, or yeah, but we can add all this information to your contact and then send you an email out in the morning tomorrow about what you would like to go further with, which is probably a consultation from the installation man.
Any further questions? All right. Well, I think we are going to wrap it up. Thanks very much to our wonderful team of interns and my colleague Eli for a great presentation. Thanks very much, Jess, for showing up to the webinar and responding to those questions, and to our guests from Owego and elsewhere. Thank you very much for coming, and have a great rest of your evening.